Okay, we are live. Welcome. Welcome to my live streaming channel. Well, I do some other kinds of videos here as well, but mostly live streaming. We are going to talk about a worldwide ban on independent media on Google. I'm going to explain what that is about and what we can do. But before I get into it all, I will just say hello and welcome. Let's see her who is in the chat. Modern Viking Norway, Jen, good to see you. Okay, so people are joining. Hi there, Curtis. Joel, Tony, Wild Weasel from the Netherlands, and Joel is, as always, from the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. Violet from Belgium. We have this international community here, so that's wonderful. Now, before I move on, let me just tell you that there is a share button under the screen, under the image. And this is the kind of video that live stream that you could share, I guess. That would be nice. Don't download and upload to your own channel. That's not nice. That's stealing. But there is a share button there for a reason. You can share this link on other social media platforms. I'm saying other social media platforms. I don't really count YouTube as a social media platform, but I guess these live streams are social in a way because I can say hello. Hi there, Catherine from Southwest UK, and Wolfo Odin is here. Wonderful. So I will quickly tell you what this is about, and I will probably get back to that as people are joining. It's really very simple. Now, I made some notes here. Now, according to Latoya Drake, she sounds like a rapper or something, but that's apparently her name. She's head of Google News Lab, and and she's talking about the Google News Initiative, where they are now launching fact check tools. Now, they are saying, now this is Google. Google is saying that they are doing this to make sure that only proper, real information that journalists and people doing research get easier access to the real, proper information. And to do that, they apparently are going to, and this is the claim, I haven't seen Google itself say this, but apparently they're going to issue a worldwide ban on independent media from the search results. Now, this needs to be confirmed, and we need to see how this pans out. But it worries me because they have admitted to this. Well, admitted, they are quite proud of this fact, I guess, that they have partnered with United Nations, World Health Organizations, and other globalist organizations to secure that only the proper, true, real information gets out there. So there is a reason why I have always said do an internet search or go on the internet. And I have even said many times that you shouldn't trust Google as a search engine because it's not objective, it's not neutral. There are many other search engines out there that would be better if you're doing research. It might take longer, but the problem you see with Google is that you can take two different people and they can type in the same thing and they will get a different result. And this has been, people have done this many times, and it's because of their past search history. That's a problem because it creates these echo chambers. Now, as a novelist, I do a lot of research. It's been a long time since I stopped trusting Google. And I probably shouldn't say this because we are on Google now. YouTube is part of Google. Well, it's not part of Google, it's owned by Alphabet, which um, owns Google as well. And who owns Alphabet? Look into that. It's very interesting. And you will see how the dots all connect and how it all makes sense. Everything that we've been through during the last few years. um, and I am just going to nod. Now, if I get a strike on my channel, I will be in trouble. So I'm going to be very careful here, okay? Now, Emil says, can't believe I caught this guy finally. So, yes, Wolf of Odin, it would be nice if you like this, then please consider clicking on that like button. Wonderful. Patsy, hi there. Okay, so let's continue. Now, why now? Why now? Why are they doing this now? Well, I must say that I don't know exactly when this is going to be implemented, or if they have already done it, or if they are going to do it in steps. I don't know. But apparently, this is happening now as we speak. Why is that? Why not? Why now? Why is it so important to? There's one of the dogs here. Yeah. Why is it so important to secure that? And I'm doing this again with my fingers, getting very good at this. Only the proper, true information is getting out there to people looking for information. Why is that? You know, I'm being ironic here. Okay, just going to close the door here. Why now? I won't answer that question, but I will say that, and I've said this before, I am now sitting at the desk, and you can't see the desk because it's in front of me here. My grandfather used this desk, and there's a secret compartment in this desk. He used to hide illegal pamphlets. Do you guys know what a pamphlet is? It's like if you take a piece of paper and you fold it, and it's printed some information and articles and stuff on it. Typically, you know, that's a pamphlet. It's just like a newsletter. They were illegal during the occupation of Norway, World War II, because what the National Socialists who occupied Norway did not want. They did not want the Norwegian people to know what was going on, like with the Norwegian resistance, um, the war in general out in Europe, and so on. They wanted to control the information completely. Now, why am I mentioning this? Why? Okay. The fact that I can't answer that question, and it's so obvious, right, tells us that we already have gotten to a place where we do not have free speech and information is controlled by certain people who really want to be in control of what people think and what kind of information and which information reaches people. And I'll just say a few keywords here. The war in Ukraine, pandemics. Yeah, I can just stop there, and there are lots of other things as well. Those are complicated issues. And certain people who see a potential for making enormous amounts of money, they do not want that people get to look at all the information. They don't want that. Because then people who, well, some people are stupid, but most people are not that stupid, you know? They might see that, well, maybe it's not so black and white. Maybe something's going on here. Maybe there's this war that we're hearing about. Maybe things are not as they are always saying in mainstream media. Maybe there are other aspects to it. Maybe there is some money under the table. Maybe there are presidents even who have selfish interests, you know. And I'll say this, sometimes, not very often, but sometimes I get criticized. I had this guy who on the main channel who wrote in the comments that you say a lot without saying anything. Well, go screw yourself, you know. That was my initial response. I didn't write that. I don't respond to nonsense like that. But you guys need to understand that I really can't finish these sentences. And I see that there are some channels on YouTube where they just talk openly about this. I call them gatekeeper channels. I can't do that. I've had 4 videos taken down by YouTube on to 2 of my channels here. So, yeah, you know. Satori Mystic says, verified independent journalists. Verified by whom? Yeah, exactly. So, this information, it's going to be looked at, and some people are going to censor the information, and they will decide what is true. You know, you need to listen to the irony here. You know, they will decide what is true and what is false, and they're doing this out of the kindness of their hearts, right? No financial interest nowhere here. No, it's not about money. It's just because they're kind and have a very high ethical standard. So, who's going to decide what is true, what is false? I mean, if we look back at this cough thing that kind of ruined. No, the cough thing did not ruin the economy. Foolish politicians ruined the economy. Well, you could say that maybe it was intentional even, but we won't go there. Now, during that whole thing, there were people like real scientists I can hear the ice creaking under my feet now. Real scientists who spoke against the official narrative. And what we know now is that well, some of them were right, they were correct, but they were cancelled during this whole thing. You know? So, yeah. Now, I will be moving on because this is difficult to talk about. But I will just say this. Please I will ask you guys two things. Please get into the habit of using alternative, which means just other search engines, neutral search engines. Please get into the habit of doing that. And also, please, there's a website address above my head. If I'm gone, you will find me there. But this moving the way it's moving may not appear in the search results or anything. But I will be on that website there if I'm suddenly gone. Okay? Because what I'm seeing is that this is going to now you're going to have to help me out a little bit here. This kind of what's the word? This comes together. There's a more elegant word there. I can't. Dovetails. Is that dovetails? It dovetails, or the opposite of dovetailing, into this European Union thing. I can't remember the name now, but it's coming into effect now in a few days, where I believe that platforms will be held responsible for the content on the platform. Is that true, or I haven't looked into that part? That's going to be a different live stream, but it you see where this is going. So we are moving towards less and less free speech, more and more that a narrative, a certain narrative, and there will be only one narrative, and you will be fed that narrative on a daily basis, concerning climate change, concerning gender and feminism, the war in Ukraine, pandemics, and the list goes on and on. So, okay, I'm going to move on now because it's complicated to talk about. I believe that we will be facing a new big crisis sometime later this year. And now I am just guessing. Of course, I'm just guessing. So don't take my word for it. I'm just sharing some thoughts and ideas here. And who knows? I don't know. We can just guess, sometime later this year, something critical is going to happen. And I don't know what, but it's just that you get the sense, you get the feeling, you get into almost like a rhythm, and your subconscious mind starts telling you things like this. So it could be some natural disaster. When I say that, now I shouldn't have said that maybe because you know what, I'll take it back, because that one is, I really can't get into it here on this on YouTube, but um, I think that we could very well see a new pandemic. And when I use that term, I'm talking about the whole thing. I'm not talking about the virus. Well, I'm talking about the virus, but I'm more than the virus. I'm talking about the whole thing being implemented with such a virus. Do you know what you know what I'm saying here? All the things they're going to make people do, the scare tactics, and of course, another poke in the arm, or several, should I say. Why wouldn't they? It went so well the first time. I mean, and they want to make money, so why wouldn't they do that again? You know? And I will just it's like I have to ask you guys, because I've said many times that if you had the poke or not, it's up to you. That was well, it's I should have said that should have been entirely your decision. But we know now that many people were forced, coerced into doing that. I've heard stories about people who had a very sick loved one, like a spouse in hospital, and if they wanted to visit, they had to get the shot in the arm. So we should not criticize that. I think that's very mean, actually, and we must respect people's individual choice and judgment. We must do that. And I'm sure you know that I chose not to. And I want to ask those of you, well, all of you guys, really. It's like, if you didn't get the shot, do you regret that? Or if you did get it, do you regret getting it? I mean, it's worth asking that question, you know, because it's going to be we're going to have to make that choice again, I think. And they're going to be maybe more brutal this time. you know, that's what I think. I could be wrong. This is just me guessing. I know nothing about this. I have certainly not been studying this issue for hours upon hours in proper research papers, and I have not tried to educate myself so that I can be prepared um, next time. I have not looked into virology at all. So I'm just someone who knows nothing about this at all. And yeah, just wanted to say that. yeah. Um, hi there, Jerry. Well, welcome. Yes, Joel. In Australia, the PH company, a representative said that nobody was forced to get mystery juice. Yeah. There is a way that what we're seeing now is it's very interesting because we're seeing that they are rewriting history, and it's fascinating. It really is. You can look at what they're saying now. You can look at the news, mainstream media news, and you can see that you can see it in real time. They are rewriting history. But I have a very good memory. So do you guys. We remember, and we will not forget, and we will never forgive. You know. So I'm smiling now, but you know, let's just entertain the idea that everything, like law and order, everything went just, there were no more law and order and total anarchy. You know, using anarchy not in the political sense, but in the popular meaning of that word. Oh, that would be brutal. So, yeah, not an argument says we need to stop watching the news and focus our energy into creating the reality we want to see, not the one they want. Yes. Well, what I will say is that if you have a TV, we tend to think that if you don't watch TV, that then you're okay. But people need to understand that this is in social media as well. It doesn't make you a better person just because you don't have TV. You don't have a TV. Oh, but you have this smartphone glued to your hand, and it's tracking you and it's feeding you nonsensical information and lies day after day after day. Now, this requires that we are critical, and we must be critical first and foremost to ourselves. We must continuously ask ourselves, am I feeling this? Am I looking for confirmation about something I feel should be true, or am I objective now? We must put our feelings over here and be objective when we search for information. It's extremely important. And when we do that, we see that very often things are much more complex than they are portrayed in mainstream media, certainly, and also on certain, like YouTube channels. But then again, some issues, some things are brutally simple. So, Bon, I'm sorry to hear that, but again, I completely understand. And I don't like to see when people use terms like, oh, the sheep and all that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Um, so, um, let's see here. Yeah, and I will add to this that one thing I truly, truly hate is when people say that, no, you shouldn't trust science. Oh, look at what happened when we trusted science. No, you should trust science. The problem was that people did not use proper scientific method. That was the problem during the whole cough thing. They did not use proper scientific method, and that's why things went as they did. Now, we the problem is that science is for sale. No, no, it's not. That's corruption you're talking about. And Mary says science is just another religion. No, Mary, it really isn't. It really isn't. That's not true. And I wish that people, you know what you should do if you think that science is just another religion? You should go to your local library and you should pick up a book, uh, Scientific Method, The Methodology of Science. Please read that book. It will be boring, very boring, but I'm sure you can find the time if you stay off Facebook for like a couple of weeks. Read that book, and you will see that science is not a religion, science is a method. So please don't go there. It makes you look a little bit fucking stupid, okay? So, Science where they test on mouses doesn't apply to humans. Well, sometimes it can. I actually don't support testing on animals. I don't. It goes against my values. But of course, you can use some. You can, of course, you can apply it. Um, Mary says, what I mean is there are two different sciences, one that uses the scientific method and the other that doesn't. The other isn't science. The other isn't science. It's the other is cooking up some mystery juice and selling it to the highest bidder. That's not science, and that's the problem. That's the problem. Michael says real science is definitely not a religion. Yes, please, people. I mean, let's not make ourselves look stupid here, okay? The problem is not science. Science is good. The problem is that they did not apply science. You get it? But of course, they said, trust the science. Trust the science. But that was not what this was about. Because real scientists, hundreds and thousands of them, they were raising their voices. They were trying to get heard, but they were censored. Now, this ties together with the title here, censorship. We're going to see a lot more of that moving forwards. And why is that? I think we already answered that question. So, I'm going to keep this rather short this time because I have to walk the dogs. But I will say that I want to thank everyone here for joining. I get passionate about this. I know I do get passionate about this because I am a parent, and I I would care. I wouldn't care as much if I was not a parent. Um, but yeah, that's my motivation. So, um, you know, Charlie says, say no to all GABS. Uh, I, if you had asked me a few years ago before this whole thing started, I would have said that, well, certainly not. I've had several of these uh, pokes in the arm. Last one, well, not not several. I've never had a flu shot or anything like that, but it was in the 90s was the last time I went to India, and I had to get against something that you can get down in India, I guess. But now I got to be honest with you. I can't trust these companies. It's that simple. I really can't. So no. And I'm saying that as someone who is not against, in principle, the principle of, um, yeah, I'm getting a little bit worried about even using these words here now. Um, Now again, I will say that you guys, I hope you're all prepared, like prepared so that you have drinking water or a way to filter your water. Why am I saying that? Well, I think we all understand that we are dealing with people who have no, well, they're bad people. Okay, they are really bad people, and they will starve you to get what they want. If they need to, they will starve you. So make sure that you have food, access to clean water, um, the supplies you need, the medicines you need. Make sure that you have those things. Pet food, gas for your car. You might also want to look at alternative places to stay, and you want to look at ways to get there quickly. And as I've said many times, also, don't count on, or don't, how do you say in English? Well, you might just have to move. You might just have to go somewhere else, especially if you're in a city. And I will say that if you're in a city now, get out of the city. I've said that a million times, and if you can't get out of the city, be prepared to do so, because these lockdowns will come quickly, and they will be a little bit different. They will be geared towards making the wheels still go round, if you know what I mean. But your freedoms will be taken away completely. Nothing left. No freedom of speech, no freedom of movement, no freedom of what do you call that? The right to own your own stuff. And no, yeah. We'll I'll be careful, okay? So that's going to happen really, really fast. I'm talking from one day to the other. Property, yeah, if I didn't say so, yeah. Actually, are you allowed guns in Norway? No, we have only one gun in Norway. It's in a museum, and we go there in school, and we look at the gun, and they explain us how guns work, because in Norway, the government took all our guns, and now, therefore, we live under communism. Yeah, so I'm being sarcastic, but traveling is good. Visiting other countries is good. It's a good thing to do. Yeah. Emit for Inam. Well, I hope I pronounced that correctly. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't even say it. But thank you for the donation. Thanks a lot. Yeah, well, so Norway is full of guns. All the Scandinavian, well, Denmark, I don't know, but Norway, Sweden, Finland is full of guns. Obviously, we have a hunting culture here, and nobody knows how many guns are in the homes here, but it's an armed to the teeth nation. And why do Americans think that they're the only ones allowed to own guns? That's so strange. Don't go there. It's here's my little theory. Here's my little conspiracy theory. Okay, here's what I think. You have politicians in the USA who think that it's very convenient to talk about gun rights and your Second Amendment. And as long as the Americans are allowed to carry guns, they will believe that they have freedom, that they're the freest nation on the planet. Please, those guns are not, it's not going to change that much, you see. And we know this. We saw that. We were sitting here in socialist Scandinavia, where we have only one gun in a museum, and with our woolly hats, and we were looking across the Atlantic, where we saw the people in America and how they were so brutally locked down during the cough. So surely, if if this gun thing gives you all this freedom, then why did this happen? Why did you have so much less freedom than us? I'm just asking the question, you know. Yeah, concerning hand grenades and stuff, I'm a little bit worried about all of that. Nobody knows where all of that stuff is. It's they tried the gun amnesty. Is that still in effect? It wasn't very successful, was it? Um, so yeah. Rosiandra, honest question here. Do you think that the American population will defend itself against the government, as you're writing there? Do you think that will happen ever? I don't know. I'm just asking, because in my mind, having a million guns per person isn't really going to. You see, it's here. That it's your mind. It's not your guns. It's your mind. That's what it's about. Yeah. Okay. You had two revolutionary wars in America, so yes, you think that? Yeah, maybe. June says no. Um, yeah, we had a war in the 1940s here, and contrary to popular opinion, the war went on. Up north in Norway was quite brutal, and we had the resistance here. I've been to the caves where they some of them where they hid. Um, I was obviously not born back then, but one of my relatives, he was shot by the occupying soldiers. He was in the resistance. Um, so yeah, that was yeah, and I'm feeling that that is kind of something that should not be disrespected. You know, he had been with another guy. They were young in Sweden to get training, um, to do sabotage against installments and stuff like that. And I guess most of you know that the resistance here, managed to blow up a factory producing is it called heavy water in English, a component to develop the nuclear bomb, um, which was quite essential um, in preventing or delaying the Nazis developing such a bomb. Yeah, heavy water. Yes. So, yeah. So, yeah. Well, I would say that Norway, it's difficult. This Stoutridge Outdoors saying that Norway society seems a lot more civilized compared to U.S. I think there are many. It's quite interesting actually, because and I will say this: the idea that the USA is the freest nation on the planet, it's a myth. It is not true. Okay, It is among the top 10, as far as I know, but all the rankings that I've seen, it's not. Is it top 10 or top 20? It's not a particularly free country compared to other Western countries. It just isn't. And I believe that well, Scandinavia is high up there. Yeah, I should have looked into this, but it is interesting because I think that a lot of factors are at play here, and guns are not, maybe not even one of the factors here, in my mind. And when it comes to welfare, no, not welfare, social welfare, but the welfare of the people, like happiness and things like that. I'm sure that you know that Scandinavian countries rank highest. Um, was it Finland last year who won? um, so it seems like a combination of good health care, education available and affordable to everyone, and access to nature, and it seems to be like the recipe for happiness and having a good life. Now, I've been to the USA 3 times, but only visited some cities, um, and what I saw there was not, well, was not nice. I understand it's a huge it's very big. It's very big. But what I saw, and I'll just say this, I saw what I think was a combination of lacking mental health care and liberal uh, drug laws, or a, a, a huge availability of drugs. That's a combination of those. Me, I just think that adding guns to that mix is not wise, but that's just me, you know. I'm a Norwegian, so what do I know? But I just, it's like I wouldn't have, if I was a bar owner, I wouldn't have free whiskey for all and axe throwing in the same room. If you know, that's so. Yeah. Yeah, Norway is not a socialist country. Why do you think that? It really isn't. Um, so axes and whiskey, wild fun. Yeah. Let me just reply to some comments here. We went off track a little bit, but that's okay. Um, yeah, be self-sufficient. Yeah, be as self-sufficient as you can, people. Absolutely. You know what? There are more. I'll try to get this right. There are more direct descendants of Norwegians living in the USA than there are Norwegians in Norway, actually. um, let's see here. Carry a water straw. Yes, absolutely. Like the water filter. I have one behind me, I think. Yeah. Oh, epic level craft. Are you a Norwegian descendant? That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Yuri Besmanov. Yes, yes, absolutely. Uh, Live straw. Yes. Yeah. Um, that's correct. That's the name. Um, Yeah, the social credit score system, we should have gotten into that, I think, in this live stream, but we'll do that another time, hopefully. Um, yeah. Yeah, well, Sweden, Sweden is not Norway, actually. um, Rocky Mountain Bear, you're also Norwegian descendant. Yeah, lots of people, lots of people. All in all, Sweden is Norway. I know you're teasing me, because um, you guys, you know that I get annoyed when people say that Norway is a part of Sweden, and that's why people keep saying that. Yeah. Now, social credit score. Have you seen that prophetic movie, Demolition Man? I remember I think I actually saw that in the movies, in a movie theater back then. What's Sylvester Stallone? It was back then, just a silly action movie, right? Uh, and isn't it funny how it turned out to be almost prophetic? The best scene in that movie is, I guess most of you have seen it, but maybe some of the very young people here haven't. There is no toilet paper because they have gotten so advanced that they use something that looks like seashells. And when the main character, played by Sylvester Stallone, I won't reveal the story, all of the story here, but he's in the future, right? And he goes to the toilet, and there are these seashell things and no toilet paper. So he asks, where is the toilet paper? And they're laughing because it's such a barbarian using paper to, yeah, so, and I think he curses, and then he gets a ticket printed out. Of course, that was not correct, because you would get a message on your smartphone, I guess. But here's my smartphone. You can make your own smartphone. I've said it many times. This one I made out of wood, and it's me, this handsome man here. And yeah, so the machine prints a fine, so he keeps cursing, and then he gets enough paper, and then he goes to the toilet. I think that's the best scene in the whole movie. So, yeah. Yeah, I am sorry. I have some little tiny flies here. They came up of this cactus here. There's some, they came up from the soil here. Yeah, but anyway. Okay. So, C. Ayers says, I found a way to quit my phone. If I played chess, well, I have played chess, but I'm not very good. So you play 4 hours a day online, and since doing this, have not used my phone for anything other than as a phone. Chess is great. So, yeah, we can grow cactus in Norway. Actually, we have sun in this country. There is sun here. It was introduced during the Marshall Program. The sun. And before that, we stumbled around in the complete darkness. That's actually how we discovered North America, because the Vikings, they didn't know where they were sailing, and they just headed out at sea, and eventually they reached North America. That's how it happened. So there's that. Yeah. So now we have some sun and gravity, but no guns. Only one in a museum. So Yeah, that's Norway for you. Okay, I think that's all for now. I'll have to walk the dogs now, and I hope you will have a wonderful day. Please remember, use alternative neutral search engines, and I will be here on YouTube and do my best. I think it's wise to stay on YouTube, because if this goes the way it looks like it's going, then YouTube will, well, Google will not be, you won't find alternative video hosting platforms when you search for things. And most people, like 99% of people, will be using Google anyway. So I'll be here. Hopefully, I'll stay here. But anyway, go to my website. You can subscribe there, and that's the safest option. You get updates about my videos there as well. Okay, have a wonderful day. We'll talk later.